I'm suing my mother-in-law for what she did to my son. My boyfriend comes from this, been in the US since the Mayflower family. He's also super blonde and blue-eyed, which I never paid much attention to until I met his family. They're all really blonde, and they act like it's something they've earned. It's weird. They find a way to work into every conversation that it's so hard to go out in the sun and so hard to find clothes that look good on them because they're just so pale and blonde. In this way that makes it obvious that they're not actually complaining about it. You know what I'm talking about. All of my boyfriend's sisters went on to marry guys who look creepily just like my boyfriend and have their little blonde babies, and everyone's very happy in the family portrait. So as you might expect, they were a little miffed with my boyfriend hooked up with a New York Jew. It's me, hi, with tan skin and a bunch of dark brown curly hair. I don't look like them. I look like Oscar Isaac in a dress. His mom was always cordial to me, but there was definitely a different vibe between how she treated me and how she treats my boyfriend's brother's Claudia Schiffer knockoff girlfriend. Whatever. I didn't care. And after I got pregnant, whoops, she started being a little warmer towards me because people get excited when there's a baby in the mix. But she'd throw in a lot of little comments over the course of my pregnancy, moments where she'd just stop and sigh and say something like, I just hope he fits in with the family. I would usually just pretend I didn't know what she meant and say, oh, I'm sure he'll root for the Eagles just like you, or, you know he's going to love your pot roast, or whatever. And she'd just smile kind of blandly, like she does. Well, my son was born 5 months ago, and he has the most gorgeous mop of curly brown hair and beautiful big brown eyes. My boyfriend and I are so in love with him. Well, 2 days ago, our sitter had an emergency and canceled, and we were left in a lurch because my boyfriend and I both had to work. I called my boyfriend's mom to see if she was available to watch the baby. She'd never been alone with him before because I had some postpartum anxiety and didn't like him being away from me. And honestly, because she'd always seemed a little cold and hands-off with my boyfriend's nieces and nephews, so I didn't think babysitting was really her thing. To my surprise, she was eager to do it, so I dropped the baby off there on my way to work. My boyfriend's shift ended before mine did, so he was going to pick him up in a few hours. Throughout the day, I got a few texts from my boyfriend's mom that the baby was doing great and having a good time. I was just about to leave work when my boyfriend called me and asked if I was on my way home. I said almost, and he said, you might want to hurry. He said he didn't want to tell me anything more over the phone, but assured me that the baby was fine. Obviously, I broke like 9,000 laws getting home as fast as I could. I ran in through the front door and my boyfriend was holding the baby, and he was blonde. Bleached out piss yellow straw dry blonde, with his beautiful curls completely destroyed and his hair sticking out in all directions like he'd been electrocuted. Worst of all was his eyebrows. They'd clearly been bleached too, and the skin around them was red and blistered. I started screaming and asked my boyfriend what the actual F had happened, and he said, my mother thought it would be a nice surprise, but she thinks maybe he had a bad reaction to it or something. I said, he had a normal reaction to bleach near his eyes. I couldn't believe that she would take her obsession with her family all looking like Northern European clones so far that she would injure my child. He was crying and clearly so uncomfortable, and I felt like the worst mother in the world for leaving him with her. I immediately took him to urgent care because I was worried about the burns that close to his eyes. They gave him an examination and said that thankfully his vision seems okay, but he definitely has chemical burns on his eyelids. My boyfriend said he was completely on my side and his mother was way out of line, but then he said, I'll talk to her. Talk to her? Number, she assaulted our child and could have blinded him. I told him that when he talks to her, he better just be telling her to lawyer up. He said if I sue his mother, he doesn't think our relationship will last. I said, there's the door.